Hi, it's Mike DelSignore, Massachusetts OUI Lawyer. Today I want to talk about what happens if you're arrested and the case can be heard in the Westboro District Court. Westboro is a court I've been going to for a very long time. I have an office in Westboro. So I'm very familiar with it, enjoy practicing that court. And I'll tell you what I think are the keys to obtaining a not guilty verdict, to avoiding an OUI conviction. That's always my goal for all my clients, that we're going to find a way to win the case. I'll tell you what the options are. If that can't be done, get your license back, minimize the consequences. But my number one goal is that I'm going to find a way to get your breathalyzer excluded from evidence, take the case to trial, and get you that not guilty verdict that's going to put you in the best position possible. So that's how I approach every case, is that I want you to avoid an OUI conviction if at all possible. So some of the methods I use to do that, so sometimes people will have what appears to be a difficult case. So what I'll do is I'll file a motion. I'll get the officer in to testify on some legal issues in the case, may try to exclude evidence. And sometimes the way the case is written in the police report is different from how the officer will testify on the witness stand. Sometimes video evidence paints a different picture. So don't assume based on the police report that that's how the case will be presented in court. The only thing that matters in terms of getting a not guilty verdict is how the case is presented in court, what the testimony, and usually the evidence doesn't come in as strong as we expect. I have seen it come the other way, where the witnesses, the report doesn't seem as strong as the testimony, but that's rare. Generally, the case presented in court is not as strong. When I cross-examine them, I'll usually find something. There'll be things that will pick up at trial that we might not anticipate. So let me tell you about some of the things you're probably wondering right away. How do you get your license back? First, OUI in Westboro. If you refused a breath test, it's a 6-month suspension on your first offense. The best way to get your license back is if you got a not guilty verdict prior to the 6 months, you can get reinstated. If you really need to drive and you can't fight the case, if you take a continuance without a finding, you can attempt to get a hardship license, but you'll need a letter from work. If you can't get a letter from work, there's another way to do it. It's slower. We'd have to go to the Board of Appeals. So that's the license if you refuse first offense. If you took the breath test, it's a 30-day suspension. After 30 days, you get your full license back. So basically, the day after you go to court, schedule a hearing online to get day 31. So don't wait for day 30, because then you'll wait another 3 weeks. So you do need an online, over-the-phone hearing. It's not really much of a hearing. It's a 3-minute call. They'll say the time's up, reinstate you. So just make sure you do that. So your first court date after the arraignment, that's going to be your pretrial. So the way the court process works is you're formally notified of the charges at the arraignment. The judge in that court won't let lawyers waive the reading, so the complaint will be read in open court. Not a big deal. First OUI, it's a misdemeanor offense. The next court date will be a pretrial. At that date, and typically the judge will waive your appearance for that, so you won't have to appear, take time out of work. We'll basically be just waiting for additional evidence. Video evidence is usually what we're waiting for. That generally takes about 90 to 120 days to get. So that is not as quick as people think. So there'll be a little bit of downtime while we're trying to wait for all the evidence. In the meantime, if you have medical records that suggest that you have problems with balance or anything to explain the officer's observations, we can be gathering that so that once we get everything, we can provide what we need to the district attorney and potentially put the case on for trial. Now, a trial in an OUI first offense, it could be a bench or jury trial, depending on the facts of the case. If it's a bench trial, it stays in Westboro. If it's a jury trial, it goes to Worcester District Court for what they call trial assignment, and then eventually for trial. So those are the steps, the court process, the license loss. What I look for in an OUI case to help you get a not guilty is I want to minimize any bad driving. I want to show that you basically did well in the field tests. Point out everything you did right, because that's not going to be in the report. But when I cross-examine the officers, I'll be able to get in details. I'll be able to point out errors they made with how they administered the test and things that could have impacted the performance. And what we're trying to get to is we don't have to win every point. We're trying to get to what's called reasonable doubt. So we want to make it seem like it's possible that you were tired, that maybe the driving was explained by not being familiar with the road, momentarily not paying attention, other things other than alcohol. And that's what we need to do to obtain a not guilty verdict. Something I've been highly successful with over the years, especially in Westboro District Court. Handle these cases all over Massachusetts. It's my passion. I love doing what I do, and I'd like to help you. Call, text me anytime at 781-686-5924. My name is Mike DelSignore, here to help you if you're arrested and your case is going to be heard in the Westboro District Court.